sick. And when I said they are sick, basically it means that people are on some sort of medication. And if we look at people who medicate themselves, that number is even higher. And if you look here, according to this study, we can see that 95% of us are ill. So this is not normal. And when we see as well babies, when they are born, after a week or 2 weeks, they start being sick. And this is something that fundamentally wrong that we are doing to become in that state. So the stuff that I'm going to talk to you about today will maybe seem a little bit unconventional, but what I'm asking you is to have an open mind and basically to look at the fact, and this will maybe enable you to do some research from yourself. I'm not a doctor, but I've done extensive research on the human physiology. And I will speak as well about my own experience. So as you can see, this is me. This was 3 years ago. Basically now I'm 35 kilos or 5.5 stone lighter. So I know what I'm talking about. And as you can see, that's the way I am now. So basically, I'm not going to ask you to believe me or to disbelieve me, but to listen to the fact that I will present, do your own research, and you'll be able to come up to some decision yourself. Okay. So what we've noticed, any machine to function correctly needs to have the correct fuel. So for example, if you've got a diesel car and you put petrol in it, guess what can happen? It's not going to work properly. And that's the same principle which applies to the human mechanism. We need to give this body the correct fuel to be able to work, because people think that they can eat, do whatever they want, and they expect this body to work in a correct way. So to be able to see what this what fuel this body is designed for, I will compare the herbivores and the carnivores. The herbivores are the animals who eat grass, and the carnivores are the animals who eat meat. So first of all, I will look into the mouth region. So as you can see here, you will see that most people say that human beings are omnivores. But if you look at the teeth of the omnivores, it's completely different from the human being. And for the carnivores, as you can see, they've got two bursting canines, they've got shorter incisors, and the molar are practically not developed. So if you look at a carnivore, the way they eat, they only got one movement in the mouth. They can only cut and swallow. They don't chew their food. So if you pay attention, you look at your cat or your dog, if you've got one, you will see that they can only cut and swallow. But if you look at herbivores, they have to chew their food. And in this instance, you can see that human beings as well, they chew their food. So in this instance, you can see that human beings relate more to herbivores. And if you look as well, the carnivores, when they want to drink water, they will lick the water. But herbivores, they suck up their water. And human beings suck up their water as well, just like herbivores. And if you look as well, you will see that carnivore, they pants, which means that most of the time they've got their mouth open, and that's the way they regulate the temperature. And herbivores, they sweat through their skin. And human beings as well sweat through their skin. So in this instance, again, you can see that human beings relate more to herbivores. And if we look at the length of the gestation as well, we can see that all carnivores, the period of gestation is 15 weeks or less. So for example, for a wolf to be able to have babies, it will take 9 weeks. For lions, it will take 15 weeks, and for cheetah, it will take 13 weeks. But if we look at the herbivores, we will see that the period of gestation is equal or superior to 34 weeks. So for example, for the bison, it will take 40 weeks. For the horse, it's going to take 47. For the chimpanzee, it's 34 weeks. For the gorilla, it's 36. And for the chimpanzee, it's 38. But for the human being, it's 40. So you can see again in this instance, the human being relate more to herbivores. And if we look as well, we will see that the carnivores, they've got a shorter gestation period, and they've got multiple births. So when, for example, a dog will have babies, they will have loads at the same time, maybe 5, 6 at the same time. And when the babies are born, they've got their eyes closed. They can't see. They will open that after a week or 2 weeks. But when we look at herbivores, they've got single birth. So for example, cows will have 1 baby, an elephant will have 1 baby, and when they are born, they've got their eyes open. So in this instance, again, we will see that for human beings, we have 1 baby at a time, rarely twins. And this instance, again, we will see that human beings relate more to herbivores. And when we look as well, we can see that for the digestive tract, we will see that for herbivores, the digestive tract is roughly 6 times the length of their bodies. But for carnivores, the intestines are very short, and it's basically 3 times the length of their bodies, as you can see for yourself here. And when we see as well, we will see that for human beings, we've got longer intestine, just like herbivores. And when we look, we will see that for us, it's very long. The intestines for human beings are very long. It's roughly 9 meters or 27 feet, which is very long. So in this instance, again, we can see that human beings relate more to herbivores. And as well, we will see that the carnivores, they've got very powerful kidneys, because when you eat meat, that meat transforms into uric acid, and it needs to be, you need the kidney need to be able to get rid of that. That's why you will see that carnivores, they've got very powerful kidneys. And as we see as well, we will see that in the mouth region, we've got an enzyme which is called taline. And basically, that enzyme enables human beings and herbivores to start the digestion process. And that enzyme, you can only find that in herbivores and human beings. You don't see that in carnivores. So here again, we can see that human beings are more like herbivores. And when we look as well, we will see that the stomach acid for carnivores, they are 20 times stronger than herbivores, because, like I've told you, the carnivores, they don't chew their food. They only swallow, so they need very powerful digestive juice to be able to digest the bones, the meat that they swallow. But for human beings, we only digest 20% of the meat. So if we look here, we will see that the human being, it's more likely like a frugivore. And when we look at the gorilla, we share 99% of the same DNA. I repeat, 99% of the same DNA. But if we look at the gorilla, who can guess what the gorilla eat? They eat fruit, vegetables, and tender leaf, and they don't eat meat. But we share 99% of the same DNA, as you can see here. Gorilla do not eat meat. So when we look, we can see this is the animal flesh that we use, the animal product. And basically, to understand what's the wrong food to do to our system, we'll have to look at the bowel transit time. The bowel transit time is the time that the food takes to pass through our system. So, for example, if you eat fruit, vegetables, it takes between 3 and 4 hours to pass through our system. If we eat raw vegetables, it takes around 12 hours to pass through our system. If we eat cooked vegetables, it takes between 24 and 30 hours. But if we eat meat, fish, or chicken, it takes 72 hours or 3 days to pass through our system. And that's why meat passes through the system very slowly. That's why you've seen that carnivores, they've got very short intestine, and the fruit and vegetable, they pass very quickly through the system. That's why herbivores and human beings have got very long intestine. And basically, if we were designed to eat meat, the nature would have provided us with the means, the tools to be able to eat that. But we will see that if we need to kill, we will need guns, knives, and stuff like that, and we need to cook the meat. But if we look at carnivores, they don't need that. Only with the teeth and the claws they are able to kill its prey. So for example, if they put a goat in front of you here and they ask you to kill it, it's not going to be possible because first of all the goat will outrun you, but even if you are able to catch it with your teeth and your hands, you're not going to be able to eat that. So this is a way to show that people are not designed to eat that. And for example, if you are lost in forest and you want to eat, what is the first thing that comes up in your mind if you want to sustain life? It's fruit. So this is the true nature of human being. We are frugivore. And if you eat the wrong food, for the 20 to 25 years, the first 20 to 25 years, your body will be able to manage to a certain extent. But after that, your body will be overwhelmed. And like I said, when you eat meat, fish, chicken, it takes 3 days to pass through a system. And let's say, for example, if you cut meat, you put that outside for 3 days during the summer. What's going to happen? Yeah, it's going to be rotting. And if we look at the human system, the internal temperature is 36 degrees. So when we look here, when it's summer, it's maybe 29, 30 degrees. But inside our bodies, it's 36 degrees, so it's very hot. So what you see outside, the way the meat, the fish and the chicken are rotting, it's exactly the same process that happens inside us, inside our gut. It rots. And to prove that, you will see that sometimes people smell bad, because when you see rotting things, it smells bad. And you will see that people, sometimes they smell bad, that's why they need to put deodorant, perfume, and stuff like that. Or for example, they can have bad breath. You can brush your teeth as much as you want, you can clean that, the smell still comes out, just because it's that rotting process which is happening. And we will see as well that when something like that happens, there's a lot of bacteria which is producing in our gut. And our system needs to do everything to get this bacteria to a very low level, and that's why people are always tired. Even if you go to sleep, you wake up, you feel tired. Why? Because you need stimulant and coffee and stuff like that to be able to feel a little bit good. So when you look at animal product, they've got no fibers, and they create constipation. So there are people who can spend 3, 4 days, even a week, without going to the toilet. And this is very, very bad for the human system. Imagine that you eat 3 meals, a minimum, a day. So after a week, it's 21 meals in your system. And it's not going anywhere, it's still inside you. And this creates putrefaction, and all this fecal matter are reabsorbed in the bloodstream, and that's how people get all the chronic diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, Parkinson, Alzheimer, stroke, arthritis, and all the autoimmune diseases where the body destroys itself. Like, for example, the inflammatory bowel disease, where you get cramp in your stomach, you bleed in your rectum and stuff like that. Or you get the psoriasis or the rheumatoid arthritis and stuff like that. And basically, for example, we've always been told that the poultry is good. They call it white meat. But who can guess what the poultry can give us disease? It gives us breast cancer. It gives us breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, brain cancer, obesity, heart attack, and diabetes. And if you look here, you can see that this is the World Health Organization, which says that all the processed meat, like salami, sausages, bacon, beef, causes cancer. So there's no question about it, it causes cancer. And the probable cause of cancer are beef, lamb, pork. And if you can see here the danger of processed meat, you've got colorectal cancer, heart disease, increased risk of death, prostate cancer, breast cancer. And if we look here as well, we can see that the processed meat gives cancer, and it's been said by the NHS. So we can see as well that this is not good for us. So if we look in the forest, we will see that animals, they don't get sick. Mostly they get sick when they are wounded by another animal or when they fight, male fights to have females and stuff like that. So in the forest, they've got no vet. But when we look at domesticated animals, we can see that they fall sick just like us because they don't eat the correct food. For example, a cat or a dog, they need to eat raw meat. But what we give them? We give them biscuit, we give them cookies, and I've even seen dogs being given sweets. And this is not normal. Or if you look, for example, for cows, they need to eat grass, but what they give them corn or meat powder. And that's why in the past you've heard about the mad cow disease. And this is not normal. So apart from the meat being a poison for the human system, we can see that they are raised in very appalling conditions. We can see that there are no sunlight, they are in confined spaces, and basically in this condition they get lots and lots of infections. And basically 70% of the antibiotic produced worldwide goes to these animals. And when we eat them, basically we will have all this antibiotic in our system. And antibiotic is very, very dangerous for our immune system because it's going to destroy the gut flora that we've got in our intestine. And we know that 80% of the immune system of a human being are in the intestine. So this is very, very bad. And basically as well, when this animal, they know that they will be killed, and they start producing very harmful chemicals that when we eat that, it's going to destroy us. And if we look here, we can see the chicken, the way they are. Basically, a chicken, when they are left to live a normal life, they can spend 6 to 8 years. But in this agricultural farming, basically they live up to 42 days. And they give them the food so that they can have, in 42 days, they need to attain 2 kilos, which is 5 pounds that they need to have. And in nature, it never happened. And the skeleton are very fragile, and that's why they can't even walk. And they die like that, and the others will eat them. And that's what basically we eat. And you can see there's no sunlight. There's nothing. They live in very confined spaces, and this is not very good. And if we look as well, we will see that for the fish, we've always been told that the fish are very good for us as well. But the fish are loaded with mercury. And mercury is a heavy metal that you want to avoid at all costs because it destroys your nervous system. And for example, if you will see that the thermometer that they were making with mercury, they don't make that anymore because the mercury is very dangerous. Let's say, for example, we've got a spill of mercury here. We will have to call the firefighters. They will have to come here, evacuate all of us, and this room will be closed for maybe 2 to 3 days before people will be allowed to be in the room again, because the mercury is very, very dangerous. And if you can see here, you will see that this is the World Health Organization. It says that exposure to mercury, even small amount, may cause serious health problem and is a threat to the development of the child in utero and early in life. Mercury may have toxic effects on the nervous, digestive, and immune system, and on the lungs and kidney, skin and eyes. So it's very, very dangerous. And if we look here, the British government say that as issue warning to young people, pregnant and breastfeeding women, and those who may become pregnant one day, to limit how much oily fish they eat. They warn that adults should have no more than 1 portion of swordfish shark or marlin a week because these fish contain high level of mercury. They have voiced concern about the level of dioxins in herring, salmon, and mackerel, but most people know little about this risk. This pollutant can harm children and adults, and as well as unborn babies and infants. So it's very, very dangerous. And this is a guide basically to the level of mercury in fish. So we can see, so the flesh basically it's not designed for the human system. And there's another component which is very, very bad, is the dairy product. This is the dairy product. And as we can see, human is the only species on Earth who drink the milk of another species. You will never see that elsewhere. You will never see a cat drinking dog's milk or a goat drinking cow's milk. It doesn't happen. It's only human beings. But when we look at the milk, it's specific to every species. For example, rabbit milk. It's got 10 times protein, more protein, because a rabbit, when it's born, it needs lots of protein because for the first week, it needs to double its size to be able to live. So if you look at the seal milk, it's got 40% fat because they live in the North Pole and it's very cold over there. They need to build fat very, very quickly. And if we look at the human being milk, it's got lots of lactalbumin because we need to be able to produce amino acid. And if we look at the cow's milk, it's got lots of casein. So you can see for every milk, it's specific to every species. And for example, a calf, when it's born, it's got 30 kilos, which is something like 5 stone. And after 3 months, it needs to triple its size, which means that in the milk, it's got lots and lots of growth hormones. It's got lots of calcium because the calf will become a big bull or a big cow, so they need strong bones. And basically, when we drink the cow's milk, there will be too much calcium in our system, and when we go to the toilet to urinate, our body will get rid of that calcium. And as well, we've got, in the cow's milk, they've got too much phosphorus. And basically, when we drink that, our body will have to neutralize this phosphorus. And our body will leach out calcium from our teeth, our bones, and our muscles. And that's how people get osteoporosis, which is basically a situation, a disease, where the bones become very brittle and create inflammation of the joints. And if we look at the countries where the milk intake is very high, we will see that the rate of osteoporosis is very high. And you will see lots of people walking with canes, with scooters, with walking aids and stuff like that. And this is because of the milk. And as well, when we see these cows, they are milk all day long. And basically, it creates infection, which is called mastitis. And basically, it creates pus. And all this pus will get mixed up with the milk, even though they will tell you that it's going to be pasteurized, but all this pus will be in the milk, and when we drink that, we'll drink that as well. And what I found as well a little bit bizarre is, for example, if there's a woman who is breastfeeding, if she can express the milk and put that in a glass, and they ask people, who's going to like to drink that? No. Most people will say no. But we can drink the milk from an animal, and this is not normal. Human milk, we said no, but the cow's milk, we said yes, and this is not normal. There's something wrong. And when we see as well, who has ever seen a grown lion drinking milk? It doesn't exist. Human being is the only species who drink milk when they are adults. Milk is for babies, not for adults. And when we look, we will see that when the babies are small, there's an enzyme which helps digest the milk. And between the years of 2 and 4 years old, that enzyme disappears, which means that we don't have to drink milk anymore. And as we see as well, we will see that 70% of the world population is lactose intolerant. And when I say lactose intolerant, it doesn't mean necessarily that you will have a very strong allergic reaction. Maybe it can happen in a subtle way. Maybe you can have chronic fatigue, you can have chronic inflammation or digestive problem and stuff like that. And here I will give you a list of diseases caused by dairy milk. You've got anemia, you've got ear infection, you've got appendicitis, you've got eczema, you've got asthma, you've got osteoporosis, leukemia, multiple sclerosis, cancer, allergy, obesity, arthritis, lymphoma, and the list goes on. And if we look as well, like I said, in the cow's milk, they've got too much growth hormones. So we see, for example, that with cow's milk, girls go through early puberties. And for example, too much estrogen is linked to cancer. So we will see that the girls, maybe they are 8, 9 years old, they already go through their puberty, and this is abnormal. And basically, they will produce lots of estrogen, which will be linked to uterus cancer, breast cancer, and for boys, it's going to be prostate cancer. So we can see that the dairy products are very detrimental to the human system. And if we look as well at the eggs is very, very high in cholesterol. And it's very bad for our arteries. And when we have a lot of eggs, basically it's going to clog up our system, our arteries, and it will create stroke and heart problems. And another very bad food is the processed food. Basically, the processed food are the man-made food. And when we look at this, all this food has got lots of chemicals, flavoring, coloring, preservative, and additive, which is not recognized by the human system. And when we look, we will see that 51% of our food are processed food, 42% are meat, 7% are fruit and vegetables. And in those 7%, most of it is potato, which they do French fries. So we eat little of vegetable and fruit. And when we see, we will recognize all this food that we eat. Basically, they are not designed for the human system, all these, full of bad chemicals. All these, they are not designed for the human system. And this is 5 reasons to quit processed food. You've got processed food may raise your cancer risk. They are loaded with added sugar, sodium, and fat. And basically, it leads to serious health issues, including obesity, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, and cancer. The processed food are designed to make you overeat and become addicted to them. They contain loads of artificial ingredients, like I've said, preservative, colorant, flavoring, and stuff like that. And some of these ingredients have been linked to an increased risk of cancer, heart disease, blood clot, and obesity, while others may aggravate ADHD symptoms in children. And here you can see as well, the processed food are very high in carbs and low in nutrients, which can cause your blood sugar to spike very quickly, and after that you'll be angry again. And the fiber is often stripped away as well, which your body needs to properly digest your food. So when we look as well, we'll see the white sugar, the white rice, and the white flour. All these are refined, and basically to give them the white appearance, basically they are polished. And when they are polished, they basically are deprived of the vitamin and nutrient, and they become very, very toxic for the human system. And another artificial sweetener that we've got is the aspartame. Aspartame is highly toxic, and it's a nerve poison. And we see that in 10,000 products that is sold in supermarkets. And some of them are advertised as sugar-free, and instead they've put aspartame. And as you can see here, you can even see the hands are avoiding this lollipop which has got aspartame. And what it creates headaches, muscle spasm, irritability, heart palpitation, vertigo, nausea, blindness. You can see here as well, decreased vision, epileptic seizures, birth defect, including mental retardation. And all this food have got aspartame. So all these, they are not designed for human system. You can see this is what we eat every day. All this. Even the chewing gum, they've got aspartame. So you need to stop aspartame if you want to be in good health. So basically our body are electrical. It works on microelectricity. And basically this body, if you want to feed it, you need to feed it with live food. Because this body is living, you need to give it live food. And what we call live food, this is live food. Because for example, if you've got a banana, which is green, if you leave it as the day passes, it becomes yellow, and then you can eat that, which means that it's living. Or for example, you can put some vegetables in your fridge, and you will see they're still growing in your fridge. Or you can take, you can see potatoes, they're still growing, which means that they are living food. And that's what you need. You cannot feed your body, your living body, with dead food. For example, the meat, the chicken, the fish, as soon as the animal is dead, the rotting process starts immediately, which means that it's dead food. Or for example, all the processed food. You cannot take the processed food, put that in the soil, and expect that to grow. But with this, you can take a seed, you put that in the soil, and it will grow, which means that this is live food. And that's what we need to have. All this, you can see all the colors and stuff. So this is designed for the human system, all this. And basically, if for people who are Christian, if you look in the Bible, you will see that it said, and God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. There will be food for you. So basically, this is the fuel for the human mechanism. And basically, I've applied this in my life. I used to be like everybody else. Here, my weight was 100 kilos, which is 15.5 stone. That was my weight. And basically, at that time, I had high blood pressure. I was pre-diabetic. I had painful joints, back pain. I had abscesses, dandruffs, massive headaches. So wherever I was, I had to take some paracetamol. And I had pain in my chest. So when I decided to change my life and starting to eat the living food, there was a complete change. There was a complete change, as you can see for yourself. So here, I've lost 5.5 stone, which is 35 kilos. So my weight is now 65 kilo or 10 stone. And basically, I lost 5 kilos in 1 week. So it's 11 pounds that I lost in 1 week. And to lose all the 5 stone, it took me 9 months to lose that. And basically, since I've gone on this plant-based nutrition, all the diseases that I've got are completely gone. So I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. My blood pressure is gone. My headaches is gone. Every single ailment that I had are completely gone. So to give you an example, my blood sugar was at 41. So if you arrive at 42, you are declared diabetic. And today my blood sugar is at 37. My BMI was at 32, which is my body mass index was at 32. Today it's at 22. And my blood pressure at its highest was 167 over 110. And to have a normal blood pressure, you should be at 140 over 80. And now my blood pressure is at 124 over 70. That's my blood pressure now. And basically, this is me and my wife, and she's over there. Her weight was 109 kilos, which is 17 stone. She had a high level of cholesterol, and when she started this plant-based nutrition, as you can see, the total change. Now her weight is 71 kilo or 11.5 stone. And the beauty of this is when you eat the correct food that this body was designed for, when you lose weight, you don't have loose skin. So I don't have any loose skin, she doesn't have any loose skin. But when you go to the gym or you have an operation, you will have loose skin and you need more operation as well. And I've got as well my son, is over there. Since he was born, for 11 years, he had eczema for 11 years. We've been to the doctors, the GP, they've prescribed all the cream that they could. There was no change. But when we went on this plant-based nutrition, it only took 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks for his eczema to disappear entirely. 2 weeks only. And this is my brother as well. He lives toward the south of England. Here his weight was 103 kilos, which is 16 stone. Basically, he was just like me. He had high blood pressure. He was pre-diabetic. He had abscesses and he had the psoriasis. And the doctor told him that he will have that disease for the rest of his life. He had already that for 8 years, and they prescribed him all the medication, but there was no change. And when I introduced him to the plant-based nutrition, as you can see, the total transformation. So now his weight is 68 kilos or 11 stone. And all his diseases are gone as well. Even the psoriasis that the doctor told him that he will have for the rest of his life, completely gone. So you can see the power of nutrition. So with this, the power of nutrition, you can reverse all the disease that you've got and with no medication. So all the diseases that I've got are completely gone with no medication at all, just going on a plant-based nutrition. And basically, when we are sick, it's a way of our system to tell us that we are not doing the stuff correctly. There's only one disease, basically. People can say that the diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, and all that, but essentially there's only one disease, which is the malfunctioning of our cells. And the malfunctioning of our cells is caused by two stuff. It's the toxicity and the deficiency. We put toxin in our body by eating animal products, by eating dairy products, by eating the processed food, by putting cosmetic product on our skin, on our hair, and that's the way we create toxicity in our bodies. And deficiency, basically we don't give our bodies what it needs for. So basically people will eat whatever they want, and their body will keep giving them the signal that they want something, they want a nutrient, and that's why people become obese. So this is the pills, and basically this is what the medical system gives us. So when you are ill, they give you this. But the medication, they only suppresses the symptom without addressing the root cause. For example, you can have the cough, you can have the diarrhea and stuff like that. People should ask themselves why I have this kind of stuff, instead of suppressing the symptoms. Because, for example, if you got high blood pressure, why do we have high blood pressure? It's because when we eat the wrong food, our arteries will start to have lesions. And when they have lesions, our body will produce cholesterol, which is intelligent response. Will produce cholesterol to try and patch all those lesions. And the more you eat bad food, the more your body will produce those cholesterol. And the medical system will give you medication to reduce this cholesterol, which is not normal. Your body is doing that to patch all the lesions that you created. And as the more you're doing that, you will see that your arteries, the diameter will start shrinking. But your bodies know that it needs to pump up the blood everywhere, and that's why it raises the blood pressure. but the medical system will give you medication to raise it down. And this is not normal. So your body is doing something to protect you. The medical system is doing some other things to basically cancel what your body is doing. So basically, when you take medication, yes, you will suppress the symptom, you will feel better, and you will think that, okay, I'm okay now. It's like, for example, if you've got your car, and in the dashboard, there's a light coming up saying that there's a problem with your oil. Your oil is leaking. And you take your car to the mechanics, he opens the cars, take out of a fuse. In the dashboard, there's no light anymore. He say, okay, I'll fix your car. Who's going to think that this car is fixed? No one. And this is exactly what the medication does. It suppresses the symptoms without addressing the root cause. And for example, in this example that I've given, if you go to the mechanic, it just takes the fuse out. There's no light anymore. You continue to drive one day, your car will stop and it's going to break down. And it's exactly with us. When we take this, the symptom will disappear. You think that you're in good health, and one day you just drop dead and you die. Or one day they will tell you you've got cancer because you've been suppressing all these symptoms. And basically, this is basically what the medical system is doing, mopping the floor by giving people medication. But the root cause, if you want to treat the root cause, you need to stop the tap over there. And that's what the medical system doesn't do. And for example, even if you have surgery, they cut off your organs, but because the cause that have produced your organ to malfunction will still be in your system, you will see that another disease will come in another form, and you will not be cured. And basically, medication increases the toxicity in your body. And I told you that we become sick because of toxicity. And medication has lots of side effects, which will make you sicker and kill you in the long run. And if we look, for example, at the cause of death worldwide, we will see that the first cause of death in the world is the heart disease. The second cause of death is the cancer. And the third cause of death in the United States is the medication and the medical intervention. And here in the UK, we can see that there are 22,000 deaths per year because of the medical errors. We can see 40,000 deaths made the result of NHS staff. And as you can see here, the respected former minister published a 35-page report highlighting a dossier by the chief medical officer, Professor Liam Donaldson, which cataloged around 8,500 adverse events or errors in the NHS every year. So you can see that this is the medical system is not right. And for example, if you get medication for high blood pressure, yes, it will raise down your blood pressure, but it's a poison for your liver, for your heart, and your lungs. And the side effect of the high blood pressure medication is sexual impotence, headaches, nausea, sleeplessness, and lethargy. So you can see for yourself. And here, I've got a notice. It's a medication that people can buy over the counter just for the flu. But look at the side effects. It can create allergic reaction, skin rash, peeling, mouth ulcers, breathing problems, unexplained bruising or bleeding, recurring fevers or infections, nausea, sudden weight loss, loss of appetite, and yellowing of the eyes and the skin, visual disturbances, unusual fast pulses, fast and irregular heartbeat, difficulty passing water, raised blood pressure, headache, dizziness, difficulty sleeping, nervousness, anxiety, diarrhea, or sickness. This is just a medication that you can buy over the counter just for the flu. You can see all the side effects that they can create. And for example, they've seen that what I'm saying basically, it's not that I'm not asking people to stop with their medication because this is not my job, but what I'm saying is if you go on a plant-based nutrition, you will not need medication anymore. And basically in Los Angeles, for example, in 1976, the medical doctor went on strike for a month, and the death rate fell by 18%. In Israel, in 1983, the doctor went on strike, 50% of the death rate went down by 50%. So how can you imagine the doctors goes on strike and people get to live more? So there's something wrong with the system. And what I'm saying is not that medicine is bad. Medicine is good for trauma. Like, for example, for reconstructive surgery, when you get involved into an accident, or when you get a burn, a broken limbs, or a gunshot wound, and stuff like that, medicine is very, very good for that, but certainly not for treating chronic diseases. For example, for the treatment of cancer, they tell you that chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and surgery is good, but they've never told you that it destroys your immune system. And your immune system is there to help you. There's no other things. It's like, for example, you've got some ants in your house and you want to destroy the ants. You take a bomb and you drop on your house. You're going to destroy everything. It's like the chemotherapy. It destroys good and bad cells, and it destroys your immune system. So, for example, the side effect of the chemo, you got brain damage, hearing loss, loss of sensation in hands, fingers, and toes, kidney and bladder damage. Some people will stay in nappies for the rest of their lives. Heart and lung damage, hair loss, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, mouth ulcers, and the list goes on. And basically, when you take chemo, it gives you more cancer because the substances used for chemotherapy are carcinogen. And 90% of the oncologists, which are the doctors who treat the cancer, they say that if they get cancer themselves, they will never go through that because they've seen all of these bad effects, side effects of this treatment. And you've not been told as well that there's only 5% of people who get to live after having the chemotherapy. And for those people who get to be saved, basically if they don't address the root cause, after 5 years, they die as well. And if you look here, for example, this is a burn from a toxic spill from a chemo drug. But as you can see, as these people, this hand is really burned up, but it's the same product that they give you for you to have that. Or, for example, this one, it's the chemo drug. You can see the damage that it can do outside your body. But they ask you to take that inside. And for example, this person, there's a spill of chemical drugs, and look how this person is protected. Why would you protect yourself like that if this was safe? Why would you do that? So there's something that we need to see about that. So basically, you will ask yourself, why have you not been told this? Basically, the pharmaceutical industry is the first industry in the world, the first business. It's not the oil, it's not the gold, it's not the petrol, it's not this kind of thing. It's the pharmaceutical companies because they live off sick people. And like I've told you, 70% of the world population is sick. That's how the pharmaceutical industry strive. And there's no need for them to tell you that if you go on a plant-based nutrition, you will be able to become in a good health. And there's no point for them to tell you that. It's like, for example, for me, since 2015, so basically for the last 4 years, I've never taken any medication, no medication at all, and my body works perfectly. My health is optimal. Imagine that you have to go on a plant-based nutrition. Basically, like I said, you will not need medication anymore, and this will be the collapse of the system because the pharmacy will have to close down, the medical school. Most of them will have to close down. A lot of doctors will not have jobs anymore, and basically the system will collapse. So there's no incentive for them to tell you that you need to change your way of eating and you'll be in a good health. And Now, if you want to be in good health, what you need to do? Basically, you need to stop eating animal product, dairy product, and processed food. You need to start filtering your tap water, because in the tap water there's got lots of fluoride and chlorine. And basically, fluoride is linked to cancer. As you can see for yourself here, it kills rodent, it causes cancer, it lowers your IQ, it causes apathy, and the first time when the fluoride was used, it was to kill Jewish in the concentration camp. And even if you look at the toothpaste, it will tell you that if you ingest that, you need to seek medical advice. Why would you seek medical advice for something which is good for you? And this is not normal. And as you can see here, the side effect of fluoride, it gives you cancer, bone weakness, joint problems, memory loss, lower IQ, infertility, lower sex drive, and there's lots of things that, that goes on. And this is basically a dental doctor. What did he say? I'm an holistic dentist and can tell you if teeth are the only reason why you lack fluoride, you better come up with a different reason. Fluoride hurts teeth, bones, brain, nerves. There's a reason a lot of toothpaste have been coming out in recent years without fluoride. We don't need this neurotoxin dumbing people down from any source. So you can see that this is very bad for our system. And basically you need to stop as well to put cream, hairspray, cosmetic product with toxic chemicals. For example, there's a sodium laureth sulfate, which irritates your skin. It creates organ toxicity and cancer as well. For example, you can see here the sodium laureth sulfate. So if you go home, you look at your cosmetic product, you will see most of them have got the sodium laureth sulfate. And basically, it gives cancer. You can see here, nearly 16,000 studies mention the toxicity of sodium laureth sulfate. And here it says, what you put on your skin can be more dangerous than what you eat. Putting chemicals on your skin or scalp, such as getting a hair dye, may actually be worse than eating them. When you eat something, the enzyme in your saliva and stomach help to break it down and flush it out of your body. However, when you put these chemicals on your skin, they are absorbed straight in your bloodstream without filtering of any kind and going directly to your delicate organs. So it's very, very dangerous what you put on your skin. You need to watch out for that. And me, for example, I only put on my skin what I can eat. If I can eat that, then I can put on my skin. And for example, I put coconut oil or olive oil. That's the only body lotion that I put because I can eat that. If it goes straight to my skin, in my blood, there's no problem at all. So you need to watch out for that. And there's as well the paraben. In lots of cosmetic products, there's paraben. And this paraben, they put that basically to fight the bacteria. And basically the paraben are linked to cancer. And there's another one as well, it's the bisphenol A. Basically, it may cause cancer. And where do you find this stuff? In item package in plastic container, canned food, toiletry, feminine hygiene product, thermal printed receipts, CDs, DVDs, household electronic, eyeglasses, and for people who wear contact lenses as well, you've got bisphenol A. And basically what it does, it messes up your estrogen and it links to cancer. And what we have as well is the deodorant and the perfume with aluminum. And you can see here, aluminum is linked to Alzheimer. And in loads and loads of deodorant or perfume that we buy, they've got aluminum. And as you can see here, you need to avoid the source of aluminum toxicity. There's the commercial deodorant. So if you want to buy deodorant, you need to buy the one which is aluminum free. And you've got commercial baking powder, you've got aluminum foil and aluminum cookware, and the vaccines as well. All the vaccines have got aluminum inside, and they've got mercury as well. And like I told you before, for the fish in this vaccine, they've got mercury. So vaccines are very, very dangerous because of the aluminum and the mercury that you find in them. And as well, you need to stop the table salt, the commercial table salt. It says that it's good for people, but in the Western world, it's heavily processed and horrible for the human health. Maybe what you can have is Celtic salt, sea salt, or Himalayan salt that's good for the human system, but not the commercial salt that they sell us. And what you need to do as well, you need to stop eating the microwave food. Because what happens when you put food in the microwave, you put your food in the microwave, the molecules start moving at an incredible speed. And at that incredible speed, it creates friction, and that friction creates heat. And when you get your food outside, it will look just like a normal food, but the molecular structure is completely destroyed. It's like you are just eating cardboard. And basically, I will give you some side effect of the food that you put in the microwave. You can have high blood pressure, you can have anxiety, reproductive disorder, sleep disturbance, migraine, hair loss, heart disease, brain damage, dizziness, appendicitis, memory loss, stomach pain, cataract, depression. This is the side effect of eating the food that goes in the microwave. And if you want to try for yourself, if you've got plant at home, just try to take the water, put that in the microwave, and start watering your plant. You will see after a few days they will die. And basically, if you see here, 4 reasons to throw your microwave. You can see microwave create cancer, carcinogenic substances. The nutritional value is reduced. You can see lots of cancerous cells in your bloodstream, and the simple fact to be around a microwave create a field, an electromagnetic field, which will basically not do good stuff to you. And here even the Daily Mail said that carcinogenic toxins are leached out of the plastic containers used to eat ready meals in the microwave. And here you can see microwave meals have lower nutritional content and often contain high level of sugar, salt, chemicals, and preservative, which is not good for your system. And if you look as well, another stuff to be in good health, basically not to smoke, because smoke is linked to cancer, and basically it's going to rob your oxygen from your brain. And basically stop drinking alcohol, coffee, as they overload your system and they acidify your body. When your body is acidic, basically it's a field for germs to thrive. Any disease can thrive only in acidic body. But if you've got an alkaline body, it's very difficult for your system to go through that. And as well, you need to stop harboring negative emotions like anger, jealousy, hatred, envy, grudge, and you need to replace them with loving thought. You need to forgive people who have wronged you, because when you entertain these negative emotions, your body will produce adrenaline and cortisol. And basically adrenaline will change your heartbeat, your heart will start beating irregularly, and the cortisol basically will suppress your immune system. And like I've told you, you've only got your immune system to keep you in good health. And for example, you will see anger weakens your liver, sadness affects your lungs, anxiety affects your stomach, fear affects your kidneys, stress weakens your heart and brain, but love brings peace and harmony. And here as well, you need to stop stressing yourself out, because like I said, stress produces adrenaline and cortisol. So when you produce these substances for too long, it's going to damage your blood vessel and impair your immune system. And as well, you need to drink enough water, because there's lots of functions which need water in your body. And no other drinks will replace the water, because people think that they can drink maybe coffee, they can drink beer and soft drink and stuff like that, and they think that it can replace the water, but it can never replace the water. And here it's walking. You need to become active. You need to start doing some physical exercises. For for example, walking, swimming, biking. And basically what I'm asking is not for people to work till exhaustion, because people think that when they go to the gym, they work, they are tired, they think that it's good for them. Because I don't know if anyone has ever seen a gorilla lifting weights to become fit. It doesn't exist. So basically what you need is just movement. You need to do some movement. For example, instead of ordering your food to be delivered at home, you can go yourself and do your shopping, you can walk and stuff like that. Because basically what it does, it facilitates the delivery of nutrients and it facilitates the removal of toxin when you do some physical exercise. And like I said, walking is even enough. And basically it's good as well to breathe fresh air, because it's very good to walk in parks, because as we see in our own home, it's more toxic than outside, because in our home we've got sprays, we've got electrical field, we've got deodorant and all that. So it's a good idea to go out and take some fresh air. And as well the sunlight, very important, because the sunlight gives us vitamin D. And vitamin D controls over 2,500 genes in our system. And basically you get vitamin D through your skin, through your eyes, and through your hair. And basically when you wear sunglasses, basically you cannot get the vitamin D through your eyes. It's not possible. Or for example, apart from the vitamin D, our body will produce, the sun will produce photons. And these photons will go through your eyes, and it will be transformed into microelectricity, and your brain will use that to do other function. But you can only absorb photon when you haven't got your sunglasses on. So sunglasses as well, it's not a good thing. And basically what you need to know as well, sun doesn't give cancer. Sun doesn't give cancer the way we've been brainwashed to think, because sun is life. If we look in past time, for example, our forefathers, they spent most of their time outdoors, and the rate of cancer was not high. So it's not really what the sun, it's mostly what we put on our skin which give us cancer. And if we look, for example, in countries where they are away from the sun, like for example in Denmark, in Finland, where they are not, the sunlight is not very all the time, basically you will see that the incidence of cancer is even higher than where there is the sun. And basically, when they give you to put the sunscreen, basically they are carcinogen, and they give cancer basically. And I will give you some ingredients that they put into the sunscreen which are carcinogen. For example, you've got the benzophenone, you've got the 4-MBC, you've got the avobenzone, you've got the homosalate, you've got the octocranoline, and you've got the octinoxate. All this stuff, you will find them in the sun cream that they've asked people to put when it's hot. And basically, this will give you cancer. And another good thing is to have enough sleep, avoid night shift, because there are some hormones like the melatonin which are only released at night. So you can sleep during the day, that hormone is not released. And melatonin is a very powerful antioxidant. It promotes good sleep, fight aging, boost your immune system, and slow down the growth of certain cancer. So it's very important to sleep. And when you sleep, you need to avoid to sleep with the light on, because when the light is on, you're not going to get the melatonin. And lastly, you need to eat a plant-based nutrition, which is fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed. So I will finish. Basically, I would like you to know that this body is perfect. All the diseases that we got are self-inflicted by the way we think, the way we eat, the way we act. It gives us diseases. Because this human mechanism is it's a self-repairing machine. So you don't need outside stuff to make it good. It repairs itself. And basically, we are what we eat. You eat the wrong food, you're going to be ill. You eat the right food, then you're going to get good health. And if you go to the doctors, basically they will tell you that if you are sick, it's because of old age. And this is not true because I was younger, I was ill. I'm older now, my health is perfect. So it's not old age. Or they will tell you it's genetic. Genetic only account for only 5%. Only 5%. Because you've got what is called epigenetic, which is above genetic, which means that you can have a bad gene, but your body will only express that if your cells live in a bad environment. And that bad environment is basically created by what you eat, the way you think, the way you do stuff, basically. And or the doctor will tell you that you've got this disease, we don't know the reason. Like I've told you, there's two reasons, toxicity and deficiency of nutrient. And basically this body has got a user's manual. Every device that you buy has got a user's manual. For example, you buy a phone, they will have a user's manual. But for this body, there's a user's manual as well. But people think that they can do whatever, they can eat what they want, any quantity, at any time, and they think that this body will work in a perfect way, and this is not right. And so basically you are responsible for your health. It's not your family members, and certainly not your doctor. You're responsible for your own health. And to finish, I will just read quickly. This is Alan Greenberg, he's a retired physician. So basically he says here, as a retired physician, I can honestly say that unless you are in a serious accident, your best chance of living to a ripe old age is to avoid doctors and hospital and learn about nutrition, herbal medicine, and other forms of natural medicine, unless you are fortunate enough to have a naturopathic physician available. Almost all drugs are toxic and are designed only to treat symptoms and not to cure anyone. Vaccines are highly dangerous and have never been adequately studied or proven to be effective and have a poor risk-reward ratio. Most surgery is unnecessary and most textbooks of medicine are inaccurate and deceptive. Almost every disease is said to be idiopathic, which means without known cause or genetic, although this is untrue. In short, our mainstream medical system is hopelessly inept and or corrupt. The treatment of cancer and degenerative disease is a national scandal. The sooner you learn this, the better off you will be. Thank you very much. So if you've got questions.
I agree with lots and lots that you've said, yeah. For start off, I've got osteoporosis. Now, they only found that because I fell about 5 years ago, broke my shoulder.
Yeah.
But I did fall quite harshly. It wasn't just a fall, it was a smack. And from then on, I've been diagnosed with calcium supplements and these weekly tablets that I have to take. Now, I drink a lot of milk, I have yogurts, eggs, cheese. I'm not a big meat eater, but I do eat a lot of fish and dairy products. And I told them this when I did take the tablets at first because I don't like taking tablets. But after 2 years, they sent me for another scan. And they told me that my levels of my bone density were still really bad. And you haven't taken the tablets, and I went, no, but I drink lots of milk, which is calcium, you're led to believe, etc., etc. So she said, you're at a dangerous level and you need to start taking these tablets, otherwise I'll get the curvature of the spine and whatever else. Now, looking at my mum's been dead for years now, but she started to go a little bit curvature, but we used to eat the same things.
Yeah.
She always believed in cheese. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had cheese, we had milk, we had eggs. But I also eat a lot of sweet stuff. And I'm just looking at that and thinking, what is your menu for a day, and what you're saying is, if I was to eat the food you're telling me, would I not need these tablets for this osteoporosis, or has it gone too far now, would you say? Do you think I still should take, because it's calcium supplements, and calcium to me is milk, cheese, eggs, and anything dairy, which you say is bad for me, but I've always eaten that. So what is a menu for you? From getting up in the morning, just tell me roughly what a normal day would be for you on your diet.
Okay.
Because I'm a bit stuck now as to what to eat.
Yeah.
And you?
Yeah, so basically, thank you for the question. So basically, what I can say is, even if you take the medication that they give you, for example, if you look, just an example, you look in these countries like Finland, Denmark, and stuff like that I have said, they take lots of vitamin D supplements, but they are still vitamin D deficient, or the cancer rate is very high. So what I know from my personal experience is all the man-made supplement or stuff like that, they don't do nothing. But in the contrary, they make you more toxic. So like I said, for the milk that you're taking, basically this is the cause for the osteoporosis that you've got, because like I said, your body, in the cow's milk, they've got too much phosphorus, and your body needs to leach out calcium from your bones, your teeth, and your muscles to be able to neutralize that phosphorus. And because it's got too much calcium as well, your body, because having too much of something is as bad as not having that. So basically your body needs to get rid of that, and that's why people get osteoporosis. And basically what myself I eat, normally in the morning I don't eat anything because this is just me. My kids, they eat in the morning. But like you asked me, in the morning I don't eat anything. I start eating around 12. And around 12 it's going to be just fruit. Just fruit. And in the evening I can eat, for example, I can show you here something that I usually eat. Yeah. So for example, at 12, I will eat fruit. Any fruit. Any. Because, like I said, the fruit is the fuel for this human mechanism. So I will eat any fruit.
But it's got to be fresh fruit.
Yeah, fresh fruit, not packaged fruit, no. Fresh fruit, or the fruit which is not in cans and stuff like that. It needs to be fresh fruit. And preferably organic, if it's possible. So I eat fruit. And at night, there are some days where I will eat fruit in the morning, fruit at night with a salad. Because basically my way of eating, I eat 80% raw and 20% cooked food. That's what I do. This is me, not my kids. So for example, at night, if I have to eat some cooked food, for example here, you can see eat pasta, beans, green pepper and mushroom. This is kale and lentil soup with a salad. I can eat spaghetti, mushroom, and tempeh. Potato, chickpeas, green and red pepper. Potato and lentil soup with a salad. I can have brown rice, tempeh, green pepper, and celery. Potato, chickpeas, peas, and sweet corn. Spaghetti, spinach, and chickpeas. Yam, yellow split peas, and lentils. Brown rice, carrot, mushroom, celery, green and red pepper. Potato, green beans, and tomatoes. Yam, aubergine, and chickpeas. A wrap, potato and cauliflower. Potato, lentils, beans, and cucumber. brown rice, carrot, mushroom, peas, sweet corn, and cashews. And this is the fruit that I have. You can see loads of fruit. There's lots of fruit that I eat. So that's basically what I eat. Yeah. So I avoid all milk products, dairy products. I avoid all the processed food. And I avoid all the meat and stuff like that. But as a transition, people can still use the vegan product. Like for example, this is a cheese, but it's made from plant. It's not made from cow. So processed food is still not good. It's not still not optimal, but it's better than having the cheese from cows, from a dairy product.
Did you say tofu?
Tofu, yeah.
And did you say
Tempeh.
the meat? What's the meat called? Corn. You know, instead of having proper sausages and proper burgers, it's corn.
Yeah, I know that.
Can you have that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. You can still have that, but like I said, for me, I try to have that moderately. For example, this cheese is made from plant, but I have one slice a week, just one. Or for example, you got the vanilla here. It's made from plant. You got the yogurt.
Is that what it means when it says live? Live yogurt? What does live yogurt mean? Is that the same? Sometimes you see live yogurt, don't you?
The live yogurt is when it's been fermented, which is different.
Oh, right.
It's different.
Live,
Yeah,
live.
it's been fermented. But for this, it's made from plant,
Right.
which is completely different from milk and stuff like that. For example, for the bread, I will take brown bread. Instead of milk, I will take the soya milk. But you need, for your soya, you need to make sure that it's organic, because there are lots of soya which is made with GMOs. So you need to make sure that it's organic. Almond milk. So there's lots of alternative. Coconut milk, rice milk, even the ice cream. It's made from plant. And when you eat that, you don't even feel, taste that it's different from the normal ice cream. You can see all this. If you go to Tesco, they sell all these things. Even the mayonnaise, not made with eggs. The chocolate spread, it's not made with milk or this butter. So there are lots of alternatives. Yeah.
What did you say about the bread? Just brown? Did you say brown bread?
Yeah. So basically, you need to avoid the bread which is made with white flour, because, like I said, yeah, brown rice, brown bread, brown sugar, and stuff like that. Yeah. And you need to avoid the white flour. All the that's what I do. I avoid all the pastries or the cakes and stuff like that made with white flour. You need to use the wholemeal flour. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, so basically I think that's the way to go. Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be a transition.
Yeah, obviously, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because I would not advise, for me, I want cold turkey. But when you do that, basically you will have lots of, you will go through a healing crisis. So for example, for 3 days I had massive headaches. I had cold sore. The pain in my joint became even more. Because what happens when you start eating the live food, basically your body finds new energy. And your body starts to dump all this bad toxin in your bloodstream, and you will feel bad. You will not feel good.
That's like a detox.
Detox, exactly.
We watched a program, remember that Russian woman, and they went, these people who had diabetes or something, and they wanted to get rid of it. They went away to this, they paid a fortune, it was all done on the television, and they had a week. And one girl was packing a case after being there for 24 hours. She wanted to go home because that was a kind of detox, wasn't it? Where they could only have certain fruits and they had soup, but that must have been something like that. And she couldn't hack it because she went and she said, I've got no energy and I can't. I've got headaches, I can't do it, I can't do it, I'm going home. But she was getting married in a few weeks, remember that woman? And she couldn't get in the dress she'd had for 2 years that her mum had bought, and she said, well, I've got 2 years to lose weight, and she hadn't. So they went for this week, and she lost something like, was it £13 in the week? Something ridiculous, but it was like a detox kind of thing.
Yeah.
She said, everything that we're giving you to eat won't do you any harm, it will only do you good. And they could only have water, and rice, and we had a choice of a drink thing, or like a soup or something, or something else. And that was it, and we were limited to an intake of something ridiculous like 500-600 calories a day, and exercise.
Yeah.
Which is everything that you're having is doing you good and will not do you any harm.
Yeah, so basically,
and it's 1 week, you know, not asking you to do it for a month, it's 1 week. And the girl was going home when she was packing a cake, she said, I can't do it, I've got a headache, I'm tired and I can't do it. And I think it was like a detox kind of thing.
It's a shock to your body, that's it.
Yeah, so most people, when they start that, they will feel bad and they will stop. But actually, you need to be persistent. You need to persevere.
1 day a week to start with, you know, do it one day and then build it up.
Yeah. So you need to go gradually, and then you need to find transition food and stuff like that. Okay, thank you very much. And channels. Yeah, basically what I've got my YouTube channel where I speak about all these things in details. I've got loads and loads of video. So maybe I've got some... if you can have a look. So I've got lots of video when you can... Okay, thank you very much for coming.